An idea I had thought of way back when was to review and rate every single Disney animated movie from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs to Moana, their most recent animated movie at the time. 3 years later, and here we are, with Snow White being on my schedule to review. Now, it's not the most memorable movie in the Disney vault, but the same can be said with every other film that was released before The Little Mermaid, the first movie of the Disney Renaissance. Therefore, I respect it as a classic, especially Snow White, since it not only launched the most well-known movie studio in history, but the animation industry entirely. Being based off of the literature from Grimm's fairy tale, Snow White was released in theaters in 1938 and was the first full-length animated movie and the first animation to have color. Decades later, it would be the most remembered version of the story, as well as starting off several spin-offs, such as Red Shoes and the Seven Dwarfs, and Once Upon a Time, a show by Disney themselves. So without further ado, I'll be giving out my opinions of the characters and story, and rank every song from least favorite to best. The same will happen with the movies that come out after it. It'll be a lot of editing for me, and a lot of watch time for you. Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make. Once upon a time, somewhere in the country of Germany, which was confirmed, was a gorgeous-ass-looking castle. Inside the castle was the queen of the unknown kingdom who had a few too many shots of alcohol from Saturday night. She's voiced by Lucille Laverne and starts talking to a mirror she bought from Bed Bath & Beyond, asking it if she's the sexiest girl in the land.
Let me see thy face.
To the queen's disappointment, the mirror, who's voiced by Moroni Olsen, says no, and that Snow White is more pretty. Well, he's not wrong. Meanwhile, in the courtyard is an extremely beautiful witch who uses her beauty to put people and animals alike in trances, and it's proven since these doves aren't flying off. Snow White, voiced by Adriana Caselotti, starts singing a song to the doves, telling them that when you make a wish in a wishing well, and if your voice echoes, your wish would come true. Riding on a horse who has a strange walk cycle is Prince Fabian. Yes, that's his confirmed name, Fabian. A lot of Disney fans were questioning what the prince's name was, as well as Prince Charming from Cinderella. After so much confusion, and some getting the names mixed up, Disney confirmed his name to be Fabian, while Prince Charming's was Henry. Fabian, voiced by Harry Stockwell, starts falling under Snow White's spell, and although her intentions was to use hypnosis and rule the world, she couldn't help but notice him getting a little too close. She flees for her life, but had to admit, he didn't look too bad himself. Having a piece of lettuce stuck between his teeth, a dove picks it off and flies away. The queen picks up on Snow White's powers and realizes her intentions. Knowing that she and the huntsman, voiced by Stuart Buchanan, are the only ones who can save the world, she sends the huntsman out to kill her and to bring back her heart for good measure. Unfortunately, the huntsman falls for Snow White's spell and spills the beans that the queen is trying to stop her plans. Snow White flees into the Forbidden Forest and would later get some points taken away from Gryffindor. I will say this scene is scary as hell when I was a kid, but to be honest, I didn't feel this way once I saw the movies later on. Snow White starts using her beauty to manipulate the woodland creatures and commands them to lead her to the closest shelter. Upon finding a cottage, she pulls a finder's keepers and starts putting the animals to work, starting off with a montage of the animals forcing mice and spiders from the homes and pulling a High School Musical with the kitchenware. Coming home after mining for some diamonds and obsidian are 7 short men. The leader is Doc, who's voiced by Roy Atwell, Happy, voiced by Otis Harlan, Sleepy and Grumpy, voiced by Pinto Colvig, Sneezy, voiced by Billy Gilbert, Bashful, voiced by Scotty Matdraw, and my favorite out of the flock, Dopey, who's voiced by Eddie Collins. Barely. To their shock, they find that their house had been broken into. I don't know why, but Dopey must have gotten on their nerves earlier that day for them to be sacrificing him to go upstairs. Poor guy. With justified reasons, the 7 dwarfs ambush Snow White, but her spell quickly makes them hesitant to do so. Party the night away with alcohol, some music, and this horrifying scene with this fly going in Sleepy's mouth. Oh god, make it stop! The huntsman comes back with the heart of a pig and hopes to avoid execution. But being the nice queen she is, she forgives the huntsman knowing that he was under the influence of Snow White's spell. With the right lever pulled by the huntsman, he and the queen hop into a roller coaster cart and travel to the sacred lab. The queen goes through her cookbook and brews up a brilliant plan to poison Snow White with an apple. She does this by taking a red apple and making it even redder with lots of red dye. There's then a chemical spill and the huntsman drops dead. Now alone and the only one left to save the universe, the queen brews up a potion to age herself as a disguise. The dwarfs go off to work and allow Snow White to take everything, from their beds to the food in their fridge. She promises Grumpy, who is acting like my cat when I try to give him a kiss, that she won't let anybody in the house, but like any child home alone, she does the exact opposite.
So beware of strangers.
Don't worry. I'll be alright.
Queen tells Snow White that what she has is a golden apple, and that once she eats it, she'll gain extra health and enchantments to help take over the universe. But after thinking she's on top of the world, the poison takes effect and Snow White dies. What the Queen didn't know was that the security alarm sent notifications to the dwarfs. They chased the Queen up a cliff, leaving her cornered and defenseless. Should have brought feather falling. As much as she didn't want to, the Queen is forced to shove the boulder down the cliff to stop the dwarfs from killing her. The dwarfs mourn and decide to leave Snow White in a glass coffin instead of burying her because of her beauty. But is that such a good idea? It's been a year and her body would have been in the middle of decomposing. All of a sudden, Prince Fabian comes in towards the point of the movie where I forgot he even existed. He leans over and, without the dwarf stopping him, kisses the corpse on the lips because everybody would have done that too, right? Snow White wakes up, and those who were brainwashed rooted for the wrong person. 5 years later, Snow White takes over the world and everyone gets Thanos. To the end. So let's talk about the story. As I said in the beginning, it's not the most memorable Disney movie for me, but I respect it as a classic. It set off the start of an expressive way to tell a story and to show off a piece of art. My only complaint on the story is the ending, which felt a little too off. The movements throughout the movies were fluent, and the character designs each had a unique appearance to make them feel like their own characters, even though Dopey looks a lot like Jerry. Adriana Castellati did a perfect job making Snow White's voice sound like an angel, and every time she sings, I stay silent, listening at every word. Prince Fabian isn't terrible, but he's my least favorite character, since he doesn't make any appearances through the middle of the movie. He only gets one mention, and that's in the song Someday My Prince Will Come, but it's so brief that it doesn't jog my memory. The only thing I can say about the huntsman is that I feel bad for him. He was put on the spot by the Queen to kill a 14-year-old girl and to bring back her heart, or else he'd suffer a fatal penalty. Makes me realize how evil the Queen really is. Speaking of which, the Evil Queen would be my second favorite character. Her designs both as old and young look sinister, and when I hear that first dialogue from her, I get chills knowing that was the first sentence spoken in a full-length Disney movie. A downside would be her actions. Despite her intentions to kill her stepdaughter because she was envious of her beauty, we don't get many scenes of her doing evil things, except having an innocent huntsman murder somebody. But after she ages up, she flips like a light switch and starts leveling up from 0 to 40. And when asking the mirror who the fairest in the land was, he simply said Snow White. How could she be certain that she was on the number 2 spot on Watch Mojo? She never bothered to ask. We of course can't finish off talking about the characters without the Seven Dwarfs. To save time, they'll be in the order from least favorite to best. Happy feels so generic and he looks exactly like Doc. Literally there's not much to talk about him other than him being ranked above Prince Fabian, cause without Happy, we wouldn't have Seven Dwarfs. Sleepy gets some points docked because the most he's used for is for this bug to fly around in his mouth. Make it stop! Sneezy's mess-ups because of his allergies are a little funny. Doc was close to taking Sleepy's spot, but he seems to have a good heart and leadership skills, despite the two looking alike. Bashful is pretty relatable for me, and I can't help but smile. Grumpy is first represented as heartless, but clearly starts liking Snow White being a part of the family towards the middle. You can even see the difference when he's literally leading the dwarfs and animals to defend Snow White. Also, just want to point this out, but this scene looks identical to this one. Dopey was obviously number 1. He's so adorable and hilarious, and I kind of feel bad of how much he's being picked on for not having a beard. Don't worry, Dopey, we love you. Now it's time to rank the songs from our least favorite to best. In last place is the Dwarfs' Washing Song. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty catchy, but it doesn't have the same impact as the others. In 7th place is the Dwarfs' Yodeling Song. It's the same reason as the previous, but it feels more memorable. The scene generally felt like the characters were having a great time, and points added for how humorous Dopey was acting dressing up as Snow White's prince. 6th place, I'm Wishing. It's a very beautiful song, but not as much as the other songs sang by the same character. 5th place, With a Smile on a Song. It's a simple cheer-up kind of song and nothing huge. Perfect example that you don't need to force something to sound majestic in order for it to sound good. Also, I don't recommend wearing headphones. 4th place, One Song. It's majestic sounding, especially with the violins in the back, but the lyrics were kind of incomprehensible on the first few replays. 3rd place, Hi Ho. It feels like the kind of song I could listen to while cooking or building a house out of Lego. Brilliant how they use the tapping of pickaxes for a beat. Second place, Whistle While You Work. It feels both catchy and motivational, instantly a classic. Also, cleaning up a house is not going to guarantee that you could stay, so Snow White was in the wrong when saying that. First place, Someday My Prince Will Come. Where do I begin, honestly? It's a very beautiful I Want song that sent chills while listening to it. So that concludes with my first Disney animated movie review. It's a charming classic and it's something decent to put on for children. Just don't tell them about how corpses age. I'd give Walt Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs a 5 out of 10. It's simple and it's something to pass the time. Well, guess the next Disney movie to review is Pinocchio. I hadn't watched it in a while, so I wonder if it'll be as charming as this movie.
What's he think?